Let's go. All right. So let me wait a few seconds here for people to jump on. Hello, Sam. Welcome, welcome. This is Live with Leo at 5, and we're doing it at 6 o'clock, which is fine. I have my guest here, and we just been trying to get her hooked up in the equipment. She's got some super fancy equipment on her end at her office studio there, where they do all their photo shoots. And what you're looking at is actually her green screen in the back, which they've changed the color on it. So, so without further ado, I see a bunch of people of you hopping on right now. So if you're on and you're on live, can you just type in the comments 6 for 6 o'clock. If you're live with us, type in the number 6. If you're watching from a replay, then go ahead and type in the number 5. So I see more of you coming on. Yes, thank you. Brand new haircut, no more pandemic. I feel like I've shed at least 5 pounds of hair, you know, from the last few months. So I feel good. I'm happy to be on. So let's get started. Everybody, I have a special guest here with me today. Her name is Nelizze, and I can't do the last name, so it's Pamintuan, right? Did I do that right?
Close enough, that works.
And I'm gonna let her introduce herself and tell you guys more about what she does, and then we'll get into a little bit of background and her journey in life, which is super special and interesting. And so go ahead, take it away, Nelly.
Definitely. So you wanted me to say my background first?
Just tell everybody like what you do first.
Oh, definitely. So right now I teach people about money, entrepreneurship, and success principles. I've been doing it for quite some time. The money part, I've been doing it ever since I could work. That's like the main thing. There's a lot more to it, but that's the shorter version of what I do.
Okay, so you help people with financial education, with entrepreneurs who are trying to start their business or who are in business and trying to help them with their finances and financial services they may need. And then you also are an entrepreneur yourself because you are running your own business and have a team behind you, which I met some of the cameramen and equipment people with you, and as well as your brother. So that's super exciting. But I want to take everybody back in time a little bit and tell everybody where you're from and what your life growing up was like and where and how you ended up here in beautiful Orange County.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. By the way, I feel really honored. So I met Leo, it's gonna be almost a year, kind of half the year. It feels like a year just because of COVID and stuff, but I met him, and when we got introduced to each other, I just knew that he's such a great person. So I feel really blessed and honored to be here and speaking to you guys. Like, this man know what he's doing, like just how wise he is and how he loves personal development. So I just want to say that before I get started. So if you guys know him, it's just, and if you don't know him, actually, like, I vouch for him because he's awesome, right? But mainly, just a little bit about my story. So I was born and raised in the Philippines. My family and I, we moved here in 2006. So I've only been here, it's kind of like 15 years now, I think, right? And so my mom passed away when I was 14, and we wanted to have a better life, right? Because we lost everything. And what happened, basically, when you move here, we thought having a job was the American dream, but it was actually the American nightmare, right? Because you're trading time for money. Like, you could be the best teacher in the world, or you could be the best at what you do, but you can't really work 24/7. So you can't really get paid the amount of money that you deserve, right? And I just didn't want to settle for that. So I always felt that I was born to do something like better and great in my life and help other people, but I just didn't really know what it was. So at the same time, I moved in a different country, right? That's a culture shock right there. So I decided to be like, you know what? I think I should be in finance because I need to understand money. because I need to find out how to just get out. I don't know, because when I got here, my aunts, like, I love you guys, but what happened was they're like, oh, you need all these credit cards just because you need to fix your credit because you need credit here in America, right? And I got in so much debt. I had no clue of how credit card works. And then I worked in banking and finance, thinking that I would learn all these concepts working in that industry. But actually that wasn't the case. It was literally like, how much money do you have? Here you go. Here's what I can help you out, or actually you don't have enough money, so I can't help you. Or if I wanted to help my family, because we didn't have that much money, so I couldn't even help my family, right? So it wasn't, I can help them with like a checking or savings, but not like the really good stuff. So I didn't really like that, because I thought financial advising is helping someone to get to point A to point B, regardless of how much money they have, right? But that wasn't the case. Realizing that early on, and I felt like I was working, you know, like when you feel like you own the place, but it's not really yours. Right? But then at the same time, when you look at your paycheck, you're like, oh my gosh, it's like, it's not even enough. You live paycheck to paycheck, right? And then you get stuck in debt. So I was in this constant rat race. So one day I woke up and I was like, I need to figure something out. So I ended up quitting and I switched to loans, thinking that would have been better, but it was another job. And in that career, it was great for the meantime because it helped me make a little bit more money, but I was working like crazy hours. Like if my friends are online, they would know that my old coworkers, we would be there at 4 a.m. and we would probably still be there until like about 10 p.m., sometimes even longer.
So hold on a second. So you came about 15 years ago with your family, and how old were you when you came?
17. I was about to turn 18.
So you're this young lady in your teens. You come to a foreign country, and so it was your whole family, your mom and dad. You have some siblings as well.
Yeah. So my mom passed away. That's why we moved here. So then it was my dad, my brother, which you met earlier. That was my other, and then I have another younger brother, and I have another older sister. So there's a total 4 of us.
So the 4 of you. So you 4 of you are here in the U.S., and then you said you have some aunts, and they were giving you some financial advice. And so you worked hard. You went to college. You got yourself a degree. And did you?
I actually didn't finish my degree. Oh, okay. So I was going to school. So I did first year college in nursing back home. And then I wanted to save money, so I didn't move my credentials here. So I was like, oh, $300 is a lot of money, because that's a lot of money back home, right? So then I took prerequisites again here, which took me, man, like almost 5-6 years to just do my 2-year. The one that I did for 1 year, it took me that long because I was working and going to school at the same time.
So this is your early 20s. You're going to school. You're trying to see if you can get your degree and carry, what you can, but there was some things with the transfer of the credits and stuff like that. And you were working at the same time. So you were working and you were going to school, trying to make ends meet, and your family were living together. So you were contributing to payments and all that, things like that, right? And so in your 20s, I did the same thing. When I graduated high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure. I went into construction a little bit, but then I also started going to school at the same time. I was paying myself, to go to school, and then eventually I got another job. So I was like working 2 jobs and going to school, and I was taking on as many credits as I could. And so I understand that that kind of life at that time, like you had no life. You were just like you work, you woke up, you went to school,
pay the bills,
you go to the test and hit the books, exactly. And so, but at that time you were still studying nursing as well, right?
Yes, I was studying nursing. Well, prerequisites for nursing.
Okay.
Because the school system here is completely different in the Philippines, right? They would just say, here's what you need to take first year college, here's your classes, and that's it, you take them. Here, there's a prerequisite of a prerequisite of a, it's just crazy, right? So it took me forever.
Yeah. So you did that for 5 years, and so I know you were starting to go
longer.
Story. At what point did you were you still in college when you decided like, hey, I'm not making enough money, or I need to do something about understanding how finances work, and people are giving me advice that I don't know if it's wrong or right. And that's when you kind of started your journey, right? Am I right?
That was about 5 years ago. Yeah. So that journey, like after quitting my job, so I had quit several jobs after that, and it was about, yeah, so it was 2014 that I kind of woke up out of that craziness, and I said, I need to do something about it. And the funny part of it, it was like, I kind of posted it on my Instagram, and I was like, I'm gonna follow my passion. So I tried to, but that let me broke because you couldn't find your passion. It's really hard, you know what I mean? Especially when you haven't really figured yourself out.
Yeah, and
Right. So
without the financial education aspect, even if you were doing something of your passion, that's when you go broke, is that you need that piece of the puzzle, whatever your passion might be, right, to be able to do it. And so it sounds like you worked throughout your late 20s and then into your 30s, and went through a lot of hardship going from job to job and not being fulfilled
right.
because they were just not the right structure. And so I think you were starting to talk about some of that stuff, just that the structure of like, you don't work for yourself, you work for somebody else, and you show up at a job thinking that you run the place, you're a manager or whatever, and you're giving directions and you're managing things, but then you really not reaping the rewards of all your own hard work, right?
Yeah, that's correct. It's like, honestly, like, here was the first thing. When I quit my job, I tried I researched every single job description you can think of, right? That had nothing to do with finance, because I didn't want to be in it, because I felt like it was sales, and it was just a very cutthroat environment. So I didn't like it. So I said, I'm going to find something else. So I tried to open up my own online clothing store. So that helped me become like more resourceful, I think, and solution oriented and figure stuff out. But that didn't work out. I lost money there. And then after that, I was going to open a food truck. So I wanted to open up a business because I thought that was like, it was going to help me, like, because my parents were business owners. So it was just like, now I know, because I know what I'm worth. And I feel like when someone tells, when you go to a job interview, and do they even ask you, oh, how much are you going to get paid? They usually just tell you, this is what you're going to get paid.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
It's sort of like,
So,
hey, what the job pays, do you want it or not? And you don't really come to the table with your own worth and evaluate your pay from there. You come to the table with like, well, this is all that's on the table. You take it or leave it, kind of thing, right?
right, exactly. So that was what prompts me to have my own business. But then to open up your own business, it costs a lot of money too, right? So like chasing after your passion while you're broke, it doesn't really work out, right? So I had to figure something out. So then because I couldn't figure it out, then I went back to school. But then my professor in college was so awesome, because she's the person who completely changed my life. She introduced me to a mentor that I didn't know that mentors exist. I was like, there's mentors that they can actually, like, they've gone through something that, now they're here to there, and they get to help you get to where they're at. I was like, I didn't know that exists. So I got introduced to that, to my mentor. And then from there, I just got introduced to self-development. Then that just got like, man, yeah. I can't say it. There's so much stuff you can do. Like there's so much growth that you can have. Like it helped me understand me, figure me out, so that I can figure what I want to do. And at the end of the day, like you talked about fulfillment and happiness, like at the end of the day, I figured out that, it's not just about the money. It's not just about yourself. Because growing up, if you go to like different personality types, I was kind of like selfish, and I was blaming people for all the things that was happening in my life, because my life was going downhill with all the crazy things that was happening in my life. And it was never like, oh, it was not my fault, it's everybody else's fault. Right. And learning more about myself and understanding, I was like, oh, so that's what happens when I go in a distress level, is I blame everybody else. So since now I'm aware of it, then I'm like, okay, so I need to get out of this and I need to learn from this. So what can I do that I have control of so that I don't blame other people, right? And then I found out that in life is not just about money. So sorry, I have ADD, so I go all over the place. So what I'm trying to say was, at the end of the day, you want happiness, right? That's why you buy the nice car when you have, even though you don't have the money. It's because it's that feeling that it gives you when, let's say you want a Ferrari. You hop in the car and you rub that engine, right? The gas pedal, and you hear that sound of the engine and you're like, oh yeah, that's why I like the Ferrari. But what does the feeling give you? It's the feeling of happiness, right? So that's why we buy material stuff. But at the end, it's not the material things that you want, it's the feeling that it gives you. So when I realized that, I was like, man, I can have a crappy car, but as long as I'm happy. But also at the same time, why have a crappy car? So I can learn about money, understand about money, have a business that gives me income so that it can fuel my passion, so that I can be fulfilled inside. So at the same time, I could be happy. So when people say you can't have it all, it just means they don't know, or they don't believe in themselves that they can have it all. But you actually can have it all. It's a choice. It's a decision that you just have to make. You know, I don't know how I got there, but
no, you're totally good. I mean, there's so much in there, and I just want to take these pieces because they're so important. All of these things are so important, and all of us. Let's just be honest. All of us go through this journey.
right.
Every single one of us. We all know what it's like to be broke. We all know what it's like to not know what to do. And just like you, and there's so many people out there just like you, like, oh, if I can have a mentor that can actually show me what to do, I don't have to go figure it out all myself. Like our culture teaches us that, right? Like, oh, you got to do it yourself. You got to go figure it out. You got to, well, you can't, right? You can't produce nothing. You can't produce something from like nothing, from thin air, right? It has to come from somewhere. And all the great people, all the millionaires, billionaires, the great entrepreneurs, the great coaches, the great teachers out there, think about all the people that you admire that have achieved great heights. They all had mentors. They all had coaches. They all had people that taught them. And then they were able to take that foundation and then continue to grow. And then by teaching others, they start to grow even more, right? And so I don't know who taught us this, that like, oh, we got to figure everything ourselves, don't ask and don't worry, like, hey, you just got to work hard. Well, if you keep working hard at the wrong things,
At the wrong thing, exactly.
you end up with the wrong things all your life and you'll never be fulfilled. And nobody wants that. Nobody start out their lives and, like they're 17 or 20 years old or go to college and say that, oh, I'm going to set out to fail, right?
Right.
And failures teaches you a lot of things, but if you continue to fail and not learn and grow from it and have people around you that help you, then you just get stuck there. And one of the great things that one of my mentors would teach us is that don't suffer in silence, right? Don't suffer in silence. And we all, for years, for all of our lives, have been suffering in silence, right? And so when you don't suffer in silence, you get to grow. You get to talk about it with somebody else. You get to learn from their experience. And then from there, you can grow out of it and not be stuck. So I'm super glad that, and grateful to hear your story about, where you are now. It's such a big difference. Like, I can already tell, like, I didn't know you 5 years ago. But I can see, all the light and the passion and the happiness that you have today. And so I'm sure it was very different from 5-6 years ago before you started this journey. So what can you tell other people out there, maybe one or two things that they could do to maybe start their own journey, or maybe they started their journey and maybe they're stuck somewhere, or maybe they just need a couple of things to help them kind of move them along.
I think what helps a lot is self-development. So the first thing, like that was the biggest thing in my life, just because I suck so bad on a lot of different areas. And I wasn't even aware that I was doing things that weren't really great. And I was complaining about every single thing. So I wasn't aware. It's Albert Einstein said, a problem cannot be solved in the same level of consciousness that it was created. So if you're right here and there's this problem, and because you didn't know that there's a problem, then you can't see it. But then when you go raise your consciousness, which is self-development, and you look at that issue on what you're going over, and you're like, oh, that was it. And so you get to solve it a lot faster. So whatever you're struggling on, it means it's somewhere right here, right? So when you develop this and you grow as a person, and it just helps a lot, right? Another thing is associations. So for me, that was a big thing. Like I love everybody. I love my friends. I love my family. But there's certain different areas that, like, you asked me what my favorite quote was, right? So my favorite quote was, if you're the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room. And the reason that is because growing up, I always wanted to be the smartest person in the room. But then I realized after all these self-development, and I was like, wait, if I'm the smartest person in the room, then that means I didn't grow, or I'm not growing anymore. I'm not excelling in my mindset. Then that's it, I'm stuck, right? Versus if I go to a different room and I'm not the smartest, then everyone else are the smartest. Then instead of getting intimidated by it, then I'm like a sponge that sucks everything in. And I'm like, okay, what can I learn from everybody? What skill don't I have that they have that I can learn from? And maybe they can mentor me on certain things, right? So it's your association. So if you're uncomfortable, like, for example, I would be in a room, like I just did someone mentored, like I had a mentorship session, and there was like not that many people in that. There's out of 60,000 people that could have been in that call, there were only like 100, right? And all the people that were training us were multimillionaire, very, very successful people. They have a great life, great family. Like their life is everything. Like is what I want to have in my life, right? One of the people that we're teaching, like he's almost a billionaire, right? So just being in that room, it makes you uncomfortable, but there's a lot to learn from those people, right? They got to where they're at because of who they are and how they've grown. So learning from them, just that association, just increased your net worth. You know what I mean? Just like in your mindset, in your life, right? So
Yeah,
those are like the top two things.
Yeah, that's so true. And I want to just reiterate that the second thing there, you know, those people that you admire who are successful, and successful can be a little subjective, but for a lot
Right.
of us, successful means we have more money, you know, than we need to know, we don't know what to do with, because we can already have enough money to eat for the rest of our lives. We have enough money to pay for where we live the rest of our lives, and then afford us things that we need in our lives to continue. And anything beyond that, you know, you're well off, right? And so
Right.
all of those people, it doesn't matter if it's Steve uh, uh, Steve Bezos, if it's Jeff Bezos, if it's Elon Musk, or any of those successful entrepreneurs, they're people just like you. They had the same kind of brain just like you. But
Right.
they were able to find knowledge and resources and really work on them and work on themselves of what makes them tick to be able to produce, you know, the product, the ideas, and be able to bring people around them that are also have great ideas to start working together to create something great. And so we all have the ability and possibility to do that. And so I
Right.
think it's super important that we shouldn't look at people who are successful, you know, from afar. We should just know that, hey, they're an image of us, we have the possibility. And when you can think about yourself as unlimited possibilities of things that you can do, then doors just start to open up, right? And
Right.
so I think
Exactly.
I think that's a super great point. So what I want to talk to you a little bit more now is just regarding overall financial literacy and overall financial health that people are dealing with. I know you talk to so many people who are clients, as well as new people that are just coming in to teach, to learn about their finances for whatever reason. Maybe they found you because their credit score was low and they're trying to do something and got referred over. Maybe they're getting bankrupt or something and they want to restart their lives or somehow, or maybe they're entrepreneurs and they want to take that next level and next step to move forward. But in order to do that, they need to leverage their money. So there's just all different kinds. But let's just talk about in typical what you see most, the kind of people that you meet most. What are the maybe one or two things that most people come to you struggle with that you can maybe shed some light on and maybe they can learn from?
That's a really good question. So most people, they don't like to talk about money. And that's really hard. It's like giving away your firstborn or something for some reason, right? But being in this industry for quite some time I think that's like the main thing is you have to talk about it. Right, the number one, not the number one, I think it's number 2 or 3 reason for divorce is because of money. Right, so it has to be. Is it the number 1? Yeah, it's either that. There's I forgot, but I researched it and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's divorce, and it was the other one, right? But that's like one of the main things, right? And what I see is, here's the thing. So when I talk to people that are younger, they're like, oh, I have enough time. I don't need to save for my future right now. Right. And in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, only if you knew. Right. And then, so let's say they're in their 20s. I'm going to take you to a journey because this was a really good one. I saw this video and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to have it. And I lost it. Right. It was on YouTube. They did like a cartoon thing about it. But they talked to this kid, 18 years old. And then they're like, oh, you need to save for your future, because if you save now, you don't have to save that much money. Right. They're like, oh, no, I have a lot of time. I just have a girlfriend right now and I need to take her out all the time. So I'm going to spend my money on that. Oh, and at the same time, I'm saving for a car. So let me do that later. And then we're like, okay, so we'll come back later on. So then we come back. Now they're in their 20s and they're like, hey, it's now time to save for your future. And they're like, no. I have all these credit card bills at the same time. And now I'm going to college. And also that girlfriend that I told you, I think we're kind of getting a little bit serious. So I need to get her an engagement ring. So I need to save up for that. Right. So then they're like, but I'll talk to you later about it. So then they push it. And then now they're in their mid 20s or 30s. And then you talk to them about it. And then they're like, oh, well, the engagement, now we have to talk about the wedding because then we're going to get married. So I'll talk to you about saving later. And then guess what happens? We come back. And they're like, oh, no. So now, so what was it? We was engaged that, oh, we have to save up for a house. So we can't think about that. We'll push it off later. And then now they saved up for a house. They didn't save up they're like, oh, we'll talk about retirement later. And then we talk to them. Now they're in their 40s. They're like, oh, we have, our kids, it's that time now. They have sports and they have this. So we'll talk about retirement later. And then you talk to them about it again. And they're like, oh, but they're in college. So we have to pay for their college. Yeah. We'll talk about retirement later. Oh, and then we have all these debts. So we'll focus on that and we'll focus on this. And we have a little 401k there on the side anyways that our job gave us. So we'll talk about that later on. And guess what? So now they're in their 60s and they're like, we're finally ready. And you sit down with them and we're ready to retire in 5 years. It's so hard.
Yeah.
So I've sat down with every single different age. And when I talk to the older people and when they're in that age, they're like, oh my gosh, I wish I knew this stuff when I was 18. I should have listened. I should have done this. I should have. And I think one of the most important things about money is it doesn't matter what level you're in. Like the time is now, right? The time you can't take back, but you have to start something than not have anything at all. But also when you start something, you just can't put it in the bank earning 0% if there's other accounts that, for example, index accounts. When the market crashed, I didn't have to worry about my money because I made money, right? Versus everybody else lost money. So those are different types of accounts. And there's also, and the main thing is also retirement accounts. So there's 3 things, honestly. To have financial stability, I always tell people, if you have debt, then you have to have a certain portion allotted for your debt. And then you also need to have short-term savings. Because when an emergency happens, which every month, there's always something random happens that you didn't know. And it could be a happy emergency too, someone's wedding or birthday. Now you have to buy a gift or something like that. So you need that. And you need a bucket for big purchases. Like if you want to buy a house, you need a bucket for that, right? Or a car that you prepare for it, or you just really want an expensive purse. Because people are in the now where, oh, I have to live now, I have to buy everything now. You save up for it. You have a pocket for it. And then you also have your long term. So to have stability, you need to save for all 4 of them. And you need to set aside for all 4 of them, not one or the other. It has to be all together. And in all ranges, it doesn't matter what age you are. The younger you are, the better you have a chance of being able to retire. And one last thing would be finding out what your FIN number is. There was a commercial that ING had a really long time ago. I wish they still had it. People were running and then they were carrying numbers and they're like, what's your number? What's your number? What's your number? And I was like, what the heck are they talking about, right? And then finally I found out my number. So a financial independence number is basically the amount of money that you need in a lump sum so that once you retire, you live off of it and not run out of money. So it's and it calculates inflation and all that other stuff. So let's say I want to retire at age 50, whatever age that may be for you. Once I turn 50, I want to get $10,000 a month, whatever money, right? I'm just saying a number, $10,000 a month, regardless if I work or not. So now there's a number that you need so that you can get there. And that's your FIN number. And then it'll calculate every asset that you have right now minus that, and it tells you how much you need to save now at what interest rate, so that from your age now, you'll get there and you'll live off of that money until you die.
Wow.
So isn't that important to know?
Absolutely. I mean, those are like so fundamental, you know, for everybody's life. And I just want to touch on those couple of things real quick as you were speaking about them. I think the organization is important, right? Being able to put those things in the buckets, like you said. So,
right.
And because we need them for different reasons in our lives. So it's sort of like, hey, you know, we have clothes, you know, we have things that we wear every day. Well, should you only have t-shirts and nothing else and no pants, right? And no underwear, right? Well, you need pants and underwear and shirts. Right, and shoes and socks, right? So same thing like the buckets that you have. You need all of them. You can't like, oh, I'm not gonna save for this. I'm not gonna save for my emergency. Well, that's like not wearing pants, right?
Exactly.
I'm not gonna save for whatever retirement, you know. Well, that's another part that you need to have. So we all have, it's like to me, like if I visualize it, it's like a wardrobe. Like
yeah, that's a good
dressed. And if you can get yourself dressed and you can put on pants, you put on shirt, you put on shoes, put on your underwear and all that stuff, well, you need to have the same thing for your finances, right? So that's a super great point. I'm glad you brought that up because I think everybody can learn from that. And it's always going to be a challenge, but you can't just give up. Like, oh, you know, I didn't put on pants today, so I'm never going to put on pants again because I give up, right? So it just doesn't work. So, but if we put those things in practical analogies, maybe that, helps people out, in seeing that,
Right.
so I think that's a really, really important. And so thank you for sharing that. I think those are great tips, and I hope people can, take those to heart. And, if you didn't understand, you should rewatch it. If you understand what a thin number is, kind of rewatch it a little bit, because I think, Nelly, you explained it really, really well. But for those people who have never heard of it before, it might take a couple of extra seconds, to kind of like,
Right.
what does that, really mean? Do I have a FIN number? What's my FIN number? Because that's the truth is, in order for you to be successful, if you don't set a goal, you will never get there.
Exactly.
You'll never get there. But the magical thing is that you just have to set it. If you set it, then you have a direction. And guess what? Sooner or later, you can get there because you have a direction, you have a goal to reach. I just can't believe like there's so many people out there, and I'm guilty of it when I was younger too, that didn't have a goal. And if I don't have a goal, then I didn't reach it, right? But then I realized if I set some kind of goal, I reached it. And for all of you guys out there, if you just set the goal and then just move yourself one step at a time toward it, and you just one day find yourself there. So hopefully, that's helpful to you. I think we're running a little shorter on time. Hey, if you guys are watching, and you guys have any kind of questions, whether you're watching a replay or you're live on right now, just go ahead and put it in the comments, and we'll try what we can to answer you, because we're both tagged on this post, so we'll be able to see it and maybe circle back around. There's a couple of things in our show we always do, so let's run through them. Number one, we always ask our guests what they love about where they live. So Nelly, tell us what you love about where you live.
What I love where I live is the sun wakes me up in the morning, because it's all glass. So I live in a high rise, so it's all glass. And when you look at it, you just see earth, you know what I mean? And lately, because we've been stuck in our house, I never knew that you can actually see the sunset when it's going down. So that's what I love about it. It's just like the feeling of feeling blessed, because you see like the world, right?
Yeah,
that's my main thing.
Beautiful. And then second thing is, we always ask if our guests have a quote that we'd like to share with everyone. And
the quote. Oh, yeah. That one was the, I think I just said it. Which one did I say? I have so many quotes that I love, but that one was my favorite one, is the one where if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Perfect. I think everybody should remember that wherever they are with the people that they're with. Okay, so now what do you have going on right now? And what can you share with people, something that you would like them to attend? I think you have a seminar coming up that everybody can take advantage of. Tell us about that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you. So if you want to learn more a little bit, more about like money and entrepreneurship and success principles, so I actually have an event with 𝐒𝐿 and one of my mentors, 𝐒𝐥𝐿. The awesome part about that, if you don't know who 𝐒𝐥𝐿 is, he was if you're familiar with the book Think and Grow Rich, they created a movie out of it. He was in that movie, and he's also the associate producer of that movie. So, and then on top of that, 𝐒𝐿 is he owns, a business, very successful. His wife is on the Beverly Hills of Housewives. His wife's name is Teddy. Right, so just Google them, you'll see them. And they're both very, very successful, multimillionaires. So I'm going to intro them, and they're going to talk a little bit more about money, entrepreneurship, and success principles. And that's this Saturday at 10:30. So if you guys want to hop on, you're always welcome to hop on. I think Leo can post, or it's on the chat. Do they see the group chat?
Yeah, so the group chat, you can go ahead and paste it in there, but it's also in the post as well, so you can have it in both places. It's totally fine. The webinar is totally free, And I think I've watched it a couple times and it's really, really insightful. I think this webinar has the potential to really transform how you view money, really transform how you view success, really transform how you view how the world works as far as finances are concerned so that you can reach your goal.
Right, it's very educational. So the thing I love about it is that, so the reason why I quit I had 9 years of experience in finance, and the reason why I quit it is because I felt like everyone was selling something all the time, stuff that they don't need, right? So for me, education is key. So once you get educated on something, then you're like, when you provide so much value to other people, then hopefully they just come back to you and be like, hey, I learned something. How can I do that? Then you can give them advice, better advice, right? Or if they just learn something and hopefully, and if they don't use it now and maybe they use it in the future, man, I just feel like I contributed to the world by just sharing that information about that, just because that part is so crucial. Right?
Yeah. So everybody, I mean, seriously, everybody should just go to the webinar, you know, spend an hour and learn a lot of really, really cool stuff that may transform your life. I mean, hopefully you understand it because the principles are very foundational and very easy to understand, but just nobody has ever taught us, right?
Right.
So, so if anything, go check it out. All of you should go check it out. And if you have more questions about how to actually do that, you need a little help, or maybe you have some special situation or circumstances in your life that you're trying to resolve and try to fix and then try to get to the next level in your financial goals, then you can go ahead and contact Nelly. You know, her name is here on Facebook, and also you guys can also comment and DM her on Instagram. We're live on Instagram as well. So
Yes.
just go ahead and contact her and she can direct you. And just so you know, there's no obligations. If you have questions, just come and ask. The last thing I want for you guys is to have a problem, have a situation that you can't resolve on your own, and you don't reach out and you don't ask for help. And she works to consult you totally free. You really only pay if there's a service that you really need. Okay, so
And you don't pay me at all,
yeah,
by the way. So it's like Amazon.
yeah. So totally, totally 100% free. So there's no obligations. I mean, there's nothing else better. Like you can't get that from anywhere. Like, you know, everybody wants you to pay for a webinar. Everybody wants you to, you know, pay to get coaching and all. So this is totally free, and this is something that you can really, really take advantage of. So I really encourage everybody to jump on that webinar, put it in your calendar, and show up. And I guarantee you that you will learn some very, very valuable principles and success principles on money and your passion and your work and everything like that to help you. So that's it. The links are on there. Thank you.
Yeah, and if they have questions, you can DM me. So you can DM me on Facebook. If you can see, I think we're joined on Facebook. They can see my info. So you can DM me on Facebook or you can DM me on Instagram. I always love hearing people's stories. So yeah, so just DM me on anything.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Leo, for setting this up. I know we had technical difficulties, but hey, you pivot, right? You figure it out.
Figure it out, and now it turned out beautifully because we're on both platforms. We're talking through it, and everything looks great. Your background looks great. You look great. And Nelly, so I want to just thank you for coming on. I appreciate your time. I know you're a very busy person, and we appreciate anything that you can offer to our audiences. And I want to just personally thank you for being here because I asked you to come on here as a favor and to maybe help out all of our audiences. And I think we did our job, and you did it beautifully. And so you're an inspiration, an entrepreneur that I aspire to be around and do good things with. And we have a lot of things that we're planning. So hopefully we can share that with everybody else as well. That's it for now. Thank you for joining the show, and we will be uploading this up on YouTube. Check out the link on YouTube. I have it in the post. Go ahead and check it out and subscribe. All my other interviews are all there. This is interview number 32. We're piling them up on, and I have all kinds of guests lined up for you in the coming weeks as well. So thank you very much. Happy Thursday to you all, And I love you all. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye. Thanks, Leo. Have a great day, everybody, or night.
Bye.